Some may say you are not entirely human. Inside every single one of your 37 trillion cells are hundreds to thousands of mitochondria, tiny organelles that produce the energy molecule ATP that powers everything you do. Every thought you think, every movement you make, every breath you take requires ATP generated by your mitochondria. But here's what they don't teach you. Mitochondria is not part of your human cells. Mitochondria are ancient bacteria that merged with early single-celled organisms over 1.5 billion years ago in an act of symbiosis. They have their own DNA, completely separate from your nuclear DNA. They reproduce independently. They have their own membrane structure that resembles bacterial membranes, not human cell membranes. You are not one organism. You are a collaborative colony of human cells and ancient bacterial descendants living in profound symbiosis. And everything about your health, your energy, your longevity, your resistance to disease, your cognitive function depends on how well you're treating these ancient partners. Right now, most people's mitochondria are dying, literally. Oxidative stress, inflammatory diets, sedentary lifestyles, environmental toxins, chronic stress. All of this is destroying mitochondrial function. And when your mitochondria fail, you don't just get tired. You get diabetes, heart disease, neurodegenerative conditions, cancer, autoimmune disease, and accelerated aging. Every chronic disease has mitochondrial dysfunction at its root, every single one. Today I'm showing you how to resurrect your mitochondria, how to honor the ancient bacteria that keep you alive, and the herbs that speak directly to mitochondrial intelligence. And this is not about boosting energy. This is about remembering that you are a symbiotic being and your survival depends on the survival of the ancient ones inside you. Let me tell you the most important story in biology, the story of how you came to exist. It is believed approximately 1.5 to 2 billion years ago, there were two types of organisms on Earth: simple cells without nuclei and slightly more complex cells with nuclei. The eukaryotic cells could not efficiently use oxygen. The bacterial cells could. At some point, the eukaryotic cell engulfed an oxygen-using bacterium, but instead of digesting it, they formed a partnership. The bacterium would live inside the cell and produce energy using oxygen. In exchange, the cell would provide protection and resources. This was endosymbiosis, the merging of two separate organisms into one collaborative entity, and it changed everything. Suddenly, cells had access to vastly more energy. Oxygen-based metabolism produces approximately 18 times more ATP than sugar fermentation. This energy surplus allowed for the evolution of complex multicellular life. Every plant, animal, fungus on Earth is descended from that original merger. You exist because of this ancient partnership. And here's what's profound. Mitochondria still retain their bacterial origin. They have their own circular DNA, just like bacteria. Your nuclear DNA is linear. They have double membranes, just like bacteria, that were engulfed by cells. They reproduce through binary fission, splitting in two, just like bacteria. They even have their own ribosomes for making proteins that are different from your cell's ribosomes. Mitochondria are not human parts. They are ancient bacteria that have been living in symbiosis with your cells for over 1 billion years. They're partners, not possessions. And here's the most important part. Mitochondria are maternally inherited. Every single mitochondrion in your body came from your mother's egg. Your father's sperm contains mitochondria, but they are destroyed after fertilization. This means your mitochondrial DNA traces back through your maternal lineage, mother to grandmother to great-grandmother, in an unbroken chain going back billions of years to that original bacterial ancestor. You are carrying ancient bacteria that have never died. They have been passed down generation after generation in your mother's lineage. Your mitochondria are older than humanity itself. Now let me tell you what modern life is doing to these ancient partners. Mitochondria need specific things to function. It needs oxygen, nutrients such as B vitamins, magnesium, CoQ10, carnitine, appropriate fuel such as fatty acids and pyruvate from glucose, and protection from oxidative stress. When mitochondria produce ATP, they also generate reactive oxygen species, free radicals that can damage the mitochondria themselves if oxidant systems are overwhelmed. Here's the crisis. Modern life is starving mitochondria while simultaneously flooding them with oxidative damage. We're not breathing properly. Most people are chronic, shallow breathers, especially under stress. Mitochondria need oxygen for oxidative phosphorylation. When you're not getting adequate oxygen to your cells, mitochondria can't function efficiently. They have to rely more on glycolysis, the less efficient, more ancient form of energy production that doesn't require oxygen. This produces less energy and more metabolic waste. We're eating foods that poison mitochondria. Processed foods, trans fats, excessive sugar, refined seed oils. These create massive oxidative stress and inflammation that directly damages mitochondrial membranes and mitochondrial DNA. Mitochondria don't have the same DNA repair mechanism that your nuclear DNA has. When mitochondrial DNA is damaged, it stays damaged. That damaged mitochondrion produces less energy and more ROS, creating a vicious cycle. We're sedentary. Exercise is the primary signal that tells your body to create new mitochondria. When you don't move, your body doesn't maintain mitochondrial populations. Old, damaged mitochondria accumulate, and you have fewer healthy mitochondria producing energy. This is why sedentary people feel exhausted. They literally have fewer energy producing organelles. We're chronically stressed. Chronic cortisol elevation suppresses mitochondrial function. Your body is diverting resources to immediate survival rather than cellular maintenance and energy production. Over time, chronic stress literally shrinks your mitochondrial population. We're exposed to environmental toxins, heavy metals, pesticides, plastics, air pollution. Many of these directly poison mitochondria. They interfere with electron transport chain, damage mitochondrial membranes, and create oxidative stress that mitochondria can't handle. The result? Mitochondrial dysfunction. And because mitochondria are primary energy source for almost every cell in your body, when they fail, everything fails. Your brain cells have up to 2,000 mitochondria each. They need massive energy for neurotransmitter production and electrical signaling. When those mitochondria fail, you have brain fog, depression, anxiety, cognitive decline, neurodegenerative disease. Your heart muscle cells are packed with mitochondria. Your heart never stops beating and needs constant energy. When those mitochondria fail, there's heart disease, arrhythmias, and heart failure. Your immune cells need huge amounts of energy to fight infections and manage inflammation. When those mitochondria fail, immune dysfunction occurs. Chronic infections, autoimmune conditions occur. This is not low energy. This is mitochondrial suffocation and is the root cause that almost no one addresses. Now let me introduce you to the plants that speak directly to your mitochondria's ancient bacterial intelligence. First is Rhodiola. Rhodiola is one of the most powerful mitochondrial adaptogens. It works at multiple levels. It increases the production of ATP, enhances oxygen utilization, it protects mitochondria from oxidative stress, and most importantly, stimulates mitochondrial biogenesis. Mitochondrial biogenesis is the creation of new mitochondria. It's controlled by a protein called PGC1 alpha. Rhodiola activates this pathway, signaling your cells to produce more mitochondria. You're not just supporting existing mitochondria, you are creating new ones. Studies show rhodiola improves endurance, reduces fatigue, enhances cognitive function, and increases stress resilience. All of these effects trace back to better mitochondrial function. Rhodiola is literally waking up the ancient bacteria inside you and telling them to multiply. Next is cordyceps. This is a medicinal mushroom that has been used in traditional Chinese medicine for centuries for vitality and longevity. Cordyceps directly enhances ATP production by improving the efficiency of the electron transport chain, the mitochondrial machinery where ATP is made. Research shows cordyceps increases cellular oxygen uptake and utilization. Remember, mitochondria need oxygen for oxidative phosphorylation. Cordyceps is helping your mitochondria use oxygen more efficiently, producing more energy with less oxidative stress. Cordyceps also supports mitochondrial membrane integrity. The mitochondrial membrane is where the magic happens. Protons are pumped across it to create the electrical gradient that drives ATP synthesis. When that membrane is damaged, energy production collapses. Cordyceps protects and restores that membrane function. Athletes and mountaineers have used cordyceps for altitude performance and endurance because it directly improves cellular oxygen metabolism at the mitochondrial level. CoQ10 rich herbs. These include parsley seed and spinach. Coenzyme Q10 is absolutely essential for mitochondrial function. It is a key component of the electron transport chain, shuttling electrons between protein complexes. Without adequate CoQ10, the electron transport chain cannot function and ATP production collapses. Your body makes CoQ10, but production declines with age with stress and certain medications, especially statins, which block CoQ10 production. You need to consume CoQ10 rich foods or herbs. While CoQ10 supplements exist, whole food sources like parsley seed contain CoQ10 along with other compounds that support mitochondrial health. Parsley seed has been used traditionally as a vitality tonic and kidney support herb, and its mitochondrial benefits are likely part of why. Next herb is Gynostemma. Known as immortality herb in traditional Chinese medicine, Gynostemma is an adaptogen that activates AMPK, an enzyme that regulates cellular energy metabolism. AMPK activation triggers mitochondrial biogenesis, improves mitochondrial efficiency, and initiates mitophagy, the selective destruction of damaged mitochondria. Mitophagy is critical. You don't just need more mitochondria, you need healthy mitochondria. Damaged mitochondria that produce more ROS than ATP need to be cleared out. Gynostemma helps your cells identify and destroy dysfunctional mitochondria while stimulating the creation of new ones. This is mitochondrial quality control at cellular level. Next is PQQ, which can be found in fermented papaya, kiwi, and certain teas. PQQ is a compound found in small amounts in certain foods that have remarkable effects on mitochondria. Research shows PQQ stimulates the growth of new mitochondria and protects existing mitochondria from oxidative damage. While PQQ is often taken as a supplement, it's also present in fermented food, certain fruits, and green tea. Consuming these regularly provides the building blocks for mitochondrial regeneration. Here's how you honor and resurrect your ancient bacterial partners. First, feed your mitochondria properly. Mitochondria prefer fatty acids as fuel. They produce more ATP and less oxidative stress than glucose metabolism. Consume healthy fats like avocados, nuts, seeds, olive oil, fatty fish, and reduce refined carbohydrates and sugar that force reliance on glycolysis. Ensure adequate micronutrients such as B vitamins, especially B1, B2, B3, and B5. Magnesium, iron, copper, zinc. These are cofactors for mitochondrial enzymes. Eat mineral-rich whole foods, not processed nutrient-depleted foods. Second, use the mitochondrial herbs strategically. Rhodiola in the morning for mitochondrial biogenesis and energy. Cordyceps midday for ATP production and oxygen utilization. Gynostemma for long-term mitochondrial quality control and longevity. Include CoQ10 rich foods or supplements, especially if over 40 or taking statins. Third, practice mitochondrial breathing. Deep diaphragmatic breathing delivers oxygen to your cells. Your mitochondria are starving for oxygen. Practice 5 to 10 minutes of conscious, deep, daily breathing. Nasal breathing during exercise, not mouth breathing. This improves oxygen delivery and CO2 tolerance, enhancing mitochondrial function. Fourth, move your body to signal biogenesis. High intensity interval training, even brief, 30 seconds of maximum effort, is the strongest signal for mitochondrial biogenesis. You're telling your cells, we need more energy capacity, and they respond by making more mitochondria. Even walking, especially in nature with fresh air, supports mitochondrial health by delivering oxygen and creating gentle metabolic demand. Fifth, protect from oxidative stress. Consume antioxidant rich foods such as berries, dark leafy greens, herbs, spices. These provide the antioxidant that protect mitochondria from the ROS they generate during ATP production. Reduce toxin exposure where possible. Filter your water. Eat organic when feasible. Avoid plastic. Reduce alcohol. Every toxin your mitochondria have to process creates oxidative stress. 6. Honor the symbiosis. Understand that you are not alone. You are a collective ecosystem. Your mitochondria are ancient beings with their own intelligence. When you nourish them, when you provide what they need, when you protect them from harm, you are honoring a billion-year partnership that makes your existence possible. Speak gratitude to your mitochondria. Acknowledge them. They are working constantly, producing millions of ATP molecules every second to keep you alive. This is relationship. You're not one organism. You are a symbiotic collaboration between human cells and ancient bacteria that shows partnership over competition 1.5 billion years ago. Every mitochondrion in your body is a direct descendant of that original bacterium. They have never died. They have been passed down through your maternal line, mother to daughter to granddaughter, carrying the spark of life through endless generations. And they are tired. They are suffocating in the modern world, but they can be resurrected. Rhodiola, cordyceps, gynostemma, CoQ10, proper breathing, movement, protection from toxins. These are not just health habits. These are acts of honoring your ancient partners. These are recognizing that your vitality depends on theirs. When you resurrect your mitochondria, you don't just get more energy. You restore the fundamental partnership that makes complex life possible. You remember that you're not separate, not alone. You're not just human. You're a living colony. You're ancient bacteria and modern mammals in exquisite collaboration. Honor the partnership. Resurrect the ancient ones. They have kept you alive every second of your existence. Now it's time to keep them alive. If your mitochondria just felt this recognition, if the ancient bacteria inside you just woke up, drop a comment below. You are symbiosis. You are collaboration. You are billions of years of partnership.